Hello, Mr. Harry, and also hello, all of my friends. Welcome to this video. Today, I would like to present about the assessment that has been made by using the checklist for research proposal that has been given from Mr. Harry. And here, my peer is Nikari Ayu Ekdiantari with her proposal entitled The Influence of Classroom Sitting Arrangement Toward the Students' Academic Performance in Learning English at SMA or Senior High School 1 YU. Alright, without any further ado, let me start by giving my assessment for the background and significance of the research part. In my opinion, the background and significance of the research have been made well. It contains of several related information regarding the topic. And for the significance of the research, if I can suggest you, I think you probably can add any other significance which refer to other researchers because I'm sure that there will be other researchers who probably has the same or similar topic with you. So then this kind of proposal will be useful as the guidance for them in creating their research. Then for the background and significance of the research, also relevance of rational and research focus. It contains both of aspects well. And yes, background and significance of the research also will fill a gap between the classroom setting arrangement toward the students' academic performance and learning English, specifically for teachers, as it reflects the teacher's ability in managing the class. The next part of the proposal is literature review. In my opinion, this part has demonstrated thorough and current understanding and knowledge of the peer-reviewed literature related to the topic. And as I mentioned on the screen, you can see that one of the examples of using the current understanding is that when it is stated in this era, specifically when implementing the online system of learning, the sitting arrangement is a difficult thing to be considered since it cannot be analyzed or even observed directly by the teacher itself, right? However, the goal as a novelty of the research of reapplying other types of sitting arrangement to find out its influence on students' academic performance seems like one difficult thing to be done because the classes are commonly done in online system for this time. Then other than that, in the literature review also has been made critically because several types of sitting arrangement are explained clearly and critically of how it all affects the classroom environment of the students and also it affects the students' academic performance during the learning in the classroom. Also, for the literature review has identified the gaps, shortcomings, and or limitation in existing research, therefore providing context for the study. How can I say that? That is because it is stated that the gaps for the research is that many teachers lack in implementing various types of setting for the students, and those teachers are only limited to use one sitting arrangement for their classroom, which is the rules or traditional sitting arrangement as what has been stated in a previous the latest studies. So they tend to not willing to use the other types of sitting arrangement for the classroom. Then the literature review also justified the questions or problem being studied. And it is stated that the questions or problem being studied, which is the sitting arrangement itself, have the influence toward the students' academic performance in learning English. The next part is about the theoretical framework. In my opinion, there is no theoretical framework part in her proposal, and since it has not been mentioned in the proposal, I could not consider whether this part is linked to the research problem or questions or hypothesis, or also whether it is demonstrate the understanding of current and relevant peer-reviewed literature or not. The next part is about the research problem or questions or hypothesis. In my opinion, this part is clearly framed the research questions or problem or hypothesis. The proposal framed it clearly, specifically in the part of the proposal of the formulation of the problem. Then the research question is also logical and researchable, and other than that, the research question is also manageable and achievable, and it is ethical, and also it is focused and grounded in relevant peer-reviewed literature. And the last question in this part is, where relevant is the research grounded in the researcher's experience and context? Then my answer is yes, because the research grounded in the researcher's experience and context, since the research problem seems like a general thing which tend to be experienced and known by all students, right? So I mean that Eti here probably has an experience which when she was in junior high school, she found that seating arrangement is one factor that can affect the students' academic performance. So then Etty tried to create the research by using or raising this kind of topic. The next part is about the methodology, rational for research method. In my opinion, the methodology part is appropriate for the research questions or problems stated in the proposal, and also it is stated that the researcher of ETI is going to use the quantitative research design by using the experimental research design. Then if I can suggest you, you probably can make it more complete by writing quasi-experimental research design as the specific type of the methodology itself. The next one is the methodology also clearly articulated and supported by current and relevant peer-reviewed literature. The next part of the proposal is about the research and data gathering procedure. In my opinion, this part are well organized since FT also explained clearly and completely, starting from the very beginning step until the very last step. And the procedures are also consistent with the selected methodology. The researcher stated in the methodology part that she will use the pre-test and post-test, and those parts are also explained again in the other next part, which is show the consistency of the researcher. Then the methods are also reasonable and appropriate for the research questions or problem. However, there is no timeline for the project, so at the you probably need to complete your proposal part by giving the timeline for the project. Then the proposal also demonstrated thorough and current understanding and knowledge relevant peer-reviewed literature related to the selected research and data gathering procedures. The next part is about data description and preparation. In my opinion, ETI has very clearly identified about who, what, where, when, why, and how of the data collection in her proposal. So it is very clear. But as the previous problem, there is no possible problem stated in the proposal. So you have to make it complete, right? The next part is about the resources required. In my opinion, there is no any required resources, which refers to special equipment or materials that will be needed during the research. So it has not described yet. And it is only explained about the type of seating arrangement, but then what type that you will use related to the seating arrangement itself and what are the resources which refer to the special equipment or materials that will be needed during the research were not clearly stated or mentioned in the proposal. And then we cannot say that whether it is will be used in offline or online system, and we as the reader will don't know about this kind of information, and whether it is available to the students or not, we cannot answer that because you still not mention it in your proposal. Then about the data analysis, I think yes, the proposal identified the possible methods for the data analysis. It's starting by explaining how the data will be calculated and also the process until the result of the research will be done from the data obtained previously has been mentioned very clear. Then the proposal demonstrated thorough and current understanding and knowledge of the research of peer-reviewed literature related to the data analysis clearly. The next part is about the ethical consideration. In my opinion, after I read the proposal, I think ETI has no any anticipate or discuss potential difficulties and obstacles in the approach for design chosen. Then other than that, ETI also has not mentioned or considered potential benefits and risks to the research proposal, as well as the discussion of how confidentiality of subject and their responses will be maintained. And the last on this part is about the discussion of the data will be stored to ensure the confidentiality of the subject is also not stated well. The last part is about the references. In my opinion, yes, there is a list of site references. Then those references are current and also relevant. But there are some of them which are not really in accordance with the current year. How can I say that? Because I found that one of the references used in her proposal is come from 1987 and so on. But then it is not in accordance with the current year, which is 2022. But as long as those are relevant, I think that's okay. Then yes, those references has been used appropriately by using the APA system. Then the references cite appropriately, but there are some which have not been cited appropriately in the background part and also the description of methodology, but those are mentioned in the references part. So those are not really considered or based on the references list. Then the last one is that the researcher tried to use the any automatic referencing system, which is using the Google Scholar. Then last, you can see here about my general comment related to the proposal that has been made by AP. In my opinion, the proposal has been made well and almost complete because there are several parts that still need to be fixed or added. For instance, the theoretical framework, as I mentioned before, it is actually one of the important part of the proposal as the guidance in creating the foundation of the research, as well as other parts that are stated yet not stated yet in the proposal. It can be seen on the research proposal checklist that I have mentioned previously. Thus, in order to make it better and complete at B, you need to fulfill those parts for the proposal that are still not written yet. Overall, the proposal has been made with a great structure. I think that is all the assessment that I could give to you, and I hope that this will be beneficial for your work later on. Thank you so much for your attention, and goodbye.